Good evening, GGAs and LinkedIn community. This is Rafia Malik, and I'm back with my third video entitled Bullying and its Effects on Mental Health. So, does mental health suffer with bullying? Yeah, it sure does, actually. There are long term and short term effects of how bullying affects um, psychologically and emotionally and mentally as well. Now, someone who is a victim of bullying will probably suffer a lot more and will have increased effects on their health as a whole long term. They most likely will suffer from depression. They will have low self esteem, lack of confidence. They will avoid social interactions with outsiders. They won't have an easy time adjusting with different personalities. Imagine as adults, like for example, when we go to work and we're at a workplace and we are comfortable with the coworkers and the job itself, but imagine the management is terrible and they don't take care of their employees. They're not motivating, acknowledging, and you have such a dreadful time waking up in the morning, and you have such a difficult time dragging yourself. You're like almost like dragging yourself out of bed trying to get to work. And how difficult is that? And then you have to face someone in the management team, or someone maybe you don't like, or a supervisor that you don't get along with, perhaps. Just imagine how difficult and heart wrenching it is to get up in the morning to go to work and to have to pass a number of days just like that, only because either you're too not confident enough to look for other work, or your circumstances just don't allow you to have enough time to take a different avenue at the moment, or you just think that this is the job and you can't get anything better than this, which is not true. But just imagine, as an adult we can feel that. Can you imagine a child that has to deal with not knowing what this day will be like in the school, what the bully will do, or feel if the person that's bullying will leave the victim alone, or hurt him, or say or harass him, or physically abuse him. It's so unfair that that should happen to any child. Of course, they're going to avoid going to school. Of course, they're going to dread waking up in the morning. They're going to cry. I've seen this firsthand, that how it's affected children, and how they don't want to um, uh, involve themselves in school or social clubs or anything like that, only because they are being targeted. And they're so afraid to say something because they think that's going to lead to something a lot worse. But what happens down the road? They suffer from anxiety and depression, and overall their mental health suffers. Is that okay? Are we saying that that's okay, that something like bullying can lead to situations and issues like this? How is this behavior acceptable? Is something that really, really upsets me and disappoints me, that nothing can be resolved within a bullying situation up until today. There's still situations happening. And it's not just the bullying, the victim itself, it's the bully himself or herself as well. There have been reports that later on, a long term, if they've actually been bullying someone or they've been bullied themselves, they over time suffer academically. They are abusing substance abuse, maybe drugs and alcohol, and they have a hard time uh, just adjusting in society, socializing. Any of those situations can cause a huge, huge impact long term. So all I say is, please don't let this go. Let this come out and be known. Talk to your child every day if you can, and find